before we end the episode, you want to hear a, well, I'm going to
Did you say
call it
end
fun.
the episode?
Before, I don't know what I said.
I was like, oh, okay, I know I said I had a time crunch. Bye, guys. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, myself, Sleepy, and Hungry.
And me. Oh, you were calling me Hungry.
Yes.
I thought you were giving yourself two titles, and I'm like, me.
I was pointing at you.
I don't watch Zoom because it's on this monitor.
Okay.
So, like, if anybody sees me turn this way, now I'm looking at Zoom. Where, yes. So, but yeah, I never have Zoom, like, in front of me because it's like, of all the, whatever, like, the facts, the Wikipedia stuff. Also, I think it would mess with my mind to just, like, I would not be, like, reading your facial reactions and just, like, seeing how you're reacting. I'd be like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with my face? It's like, Yzma, when she drinks the potion Empress New Groove. Is that my voice? Ah, well. Oh, excuse me. But, yeah, I was like, oh, shoot. Hop's calling herself sleepy and hungry. I'm awake and semi-full.
No, it's the bit.
Yes.
We ended last episode with saying...
Oh, we did. I completely forgot.
There's the joke. It finally landed.
Yeah, I'm apparently both sleepy and hungry right now. Yeah. Alright. Before we end the episode, you want to hear a, well, I'm going to
Did you say end the episode?
Before, I don't know what I said.
I was like, oh, okay, I know I said I had a time crunch. Bye, guys.
What was the episode? There was an episode where we were reviewing something where it's just like, and this is how it, oh, now I remember. It was one of the Halloween movie things where it's just like we were going to go do our 30-minute chat about it. And I was like, hey, I know I'm going to jump ahead, but I have to talk about this. And it was like the end of the movie. But, no, I'm gonna send you a picture on the Discords of, I had a visitor yesterday.
Okay.
That's not you. There you are. Okay, it's sending, and it should be here.
That thing is too large to be on that side of the window.
Yeah. It was... I'm like, I was getting ready, like, to go take a shower, and then it's like, I live alone, and so I heard, like, a crinkle from my trash can, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I looked, and I'm blind, I have glasses. Oh man, I just freaked myself out, because I think I saw some movement on the glow of my monitor. But anyway, I'm like, it's back. But I was like, I heard it, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So I went and put on my glasses, and then there it is flying around. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that thing is huge. And I'm like, how the heck am I going to deal with this? And then thankfully it flew. The picture, by the way, we haven't said anything. It's the biggest yellow jacket I've ever seen in my life, and it was in my apartment.
What would you say for scale? Like, compared to a quarter?
I think it would be... I think it was bigger than 2 dice. Like, 2 D20s.
Oh, in length?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Or it was slightly bigger or just the same size as that. For audio listeners, I held up 2 D20, which we'll get to later. But, yeah, so it, like, flew to my window, and that's when I was like, it was on the screen, so I shut my window, and I'm like, you got in here somehow. You're gonna find your way out. And so, like, I was watching it, and that's when I took the picture. And then I was like, okay, well, I got stuff to do. I can't sit here and watch this thing, because I was trying to like get it out by like moving the other window, but that other window doesn't have a screen on it. So I'm like, well, I don't want anything else coming in. And so like I closed that, and I'm like, you're just gonna have to find your way out, otherwise this window just never opens again. And then I took a shower, came back, and it was gone. But I'm like,
so never open that window again.
Well, it's open now, but I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know how it got in here. I have a theory, but I'm like, my apartment easily can get into the 90s, so I need this airflow. So, funny enough, it is not the first time that a bee showed up in my apartment.
In this particular one, or just in your
Yes,
lifetime?
in this one. Because there was one, it was like, I was streaming, and I felt something like graze my leg, and I'm like, and I thought it was just like one of these cables, because I had a controller and my headphones plugged in, so I thought it just moved, and I was like, that's weird. And then I like I don't know where I looked, or no, I looked down, and I just saw this little bee just going zoom. Well, it wasn't little, it was just like another like kind of, and I'm like, oh my gosh. and then like I went up to get something to kill it, because stream middle of the night, I'm like, I ain't dealing with this. And well, it was like the beginning of the night, but and then I lost it. I'm like, I don't know where it went. And so I'm playing, and then I look down, and it's just like crawling over my keyboard.
Oh no.
I'm like, it's back. And then I don't remember how I killed it, but it was dead. And then in case anyone's listening, it's like, you shouldn't kill bees. No, this was like a yellow jacket or something. At least it looked like it in the dark.
Much more violent, not so much honey producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can go literally anywhere else. But hey, since we're talking about animals, do you want a fun animal fact?
Is it related to Gravity Falls?
Exactly.
Okay.
It is. Which, in a short tangential way, it is related to this episode. Waddles was nominated for Favorite Animated Animal Sidekick.
Good for him. He deserves
Back
it.
Back in 2014, his adorable, irresistible character was nominated by Kids' Choice Awards. In the end, Patrick Star from SpongeBob SquarePants won the award.
I guess he's technically an animal.
They're all technically animals, but...
But it's weird that, like, you put Waddles in the same category as someone that can talk.
Technically, Waddles can.
Only in a dreamscape. That never actually happened.
I don't know. But yeah, I forgot we were recording as I shoveled food in my mouth. So
You already warned everybody you'd be eating.
I think that was before we started record. I don't remember, but hey, food may be consumed on this episode depending on the dice roll.
Not by me.
Yep.
So speaking of dice rolls,
Mm-hmm.
I know you have your D20s available because you use them to explain the size of this yellow jacket in your apartment.
Yep.
And
I lost them. They flew away.
Oh, so you were actually holding the wasp or the yellow jacket and not your dice.
Yep, that's what it was. For audio listeners, you'll never know. But oh man. You know what? We missed a fun opportunity for Weirdmageddon to like join in the weird and roll different die.
That is true. But we're already on part 2 of Weirdmageddon. I've got my D20, which I own dice because I play a lot of tabletop games, and Itisdpayne runs a lot of tabletop games. Where we
Actually,
roll.
I'm playing a game tonight.
Oh, you did mention that you have the brain thing where you're like, I don't want to go, but then you have fun once you're there.
I want to go, but every essence of my being doesn't want to until I'm there. And I don't know anybody else that likes to do that. Oh, you're talking today.
Okay, yes. We roll our 20-sided dice. I rolled a 16.
Yeah, well, if you take away the 6, you got what I got. I got a nat 1.
That would have been an interesting day to tie. 2 nat 1s. Right?
Well, if we did, like, then that just means we have to both share it. So we would do every other word. This is where Hop ignores my goof and just says, I'm just gonna let that sit there and not acknowledge it.
Because if I acknowledge it, you'll find a way to make it happen, and I won't be prepared.
I'm not going to agree or disagree with said statement.
I feel like there would be somehow, some way, someday, there would be some kind of chaotic version of the podcast where we roll on a wheel of silly things. And you'll be like, oh, remember that comment I made? Oh, it snuck into the wheel. Oh, no, it's the first thing we have to try and do.
It's also the last time we used the wheel. Oh, my gosh.
Shenanigans. Okay. So.
This means I can eat.
Enjoy your breakfast. Mm-hmm. I should have made myself breakfast, but instead I washed my hair. You pick your battles. Yes. Sorry.
That's later today.
I feel like I sound stuffy. I don't know if I actually do. But I know I woke up. I checked my watch. It says I have 5 hours and 52 minutes of sleep. I was like, no wonder I feel like kind of bad. I don't feel tired. I just feel like I woke up in the middle of something. And it's because I probably did.
You woke up in the middle of your sleep. That's what you did.
Well, usually, if I hit, like, what was it? I've been trying to, like, get myself into bed a decent time and then wake up without an alarm. And I can consistently pretty much wake up between, like, 8:30 and 9. But I tried to sleep in one day and my body was like, it is 7:55, wake up. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Did I get, like, enough sleep? And my watch says 5.5 hours. I was like, why is my body decided right now is wake up time? So
yeah,
hitting the awkward 52-minute mark between the hour, I think, is throwing me for a bit of a loop.
I will say we are close to the same amount of hours of sleep. But it always sounds like when someone says this, it's like, I know people have grief with the creator of this, but I always remember there's a character in the Dilbert comics called the Topper, and he always has to top no matter what story is said in the office, no matter if it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was like, yeah, like, I was just nonchalantly about to say, yeah, I got, I think, close to 4 hours. And then that character popped in my head. I'm like, I'm not here to top. I'm just here to drop and listen and eat. And maybe give side commentary like I do now. But
yeah, the dice decided you're allowed to eat today.
Yeah, how kind.
Kind dice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But go ahead.
Yes.
Take it away.
So we are opening into the continuation of last week's episode. So we're in Weirdmageddon Part 2. And I love the opening sequence of a squirrel just hanging around and then getting eaten by a mailbox. Everything is just sentient and alive. But we, after that, we kind of zoom out and we see the guy that had Waddles. I guess his name's Sprott. He has his end is nigh sign, and he's explaining and saying, like, anything with more than 3 sides is sinful. And behind him, Manly Dan is, like, cutting up a stop sign into a triangle. And Sprott's like, yeah, I think that's what Bill would want. And then one of the Ibats comes over, turns Manly Dan into a statue, and takes him away. And Sprott is like, oh, I might have been living a lie, as he also gets turned into a statue and gets carried away. And then we go into the pyramid to find everybody still partying. And Bill says, he makes an announcement to everybody, and he explains it's been fun turning Gravity Falls into everything that he wanted, turning it inside out and scaring all of its citizens. And then his favorite part is he's also built himself a throne of agony, which is all of the people of Gravity Falls frozen in fear and built into a giant throne for him to sit on. He makes a comment saying that he's pretty sure they're not conscious anymore, so it shouldn't be a big deal. And Lazy Susan gets unpetrified and starts talking about her omelets. And he's like, uh-oh. And then turns her back into a statue and, like, scoots her around for her to fit back into the seat that he wants her to fit in.
People Tetris.
Yes. But then he explains that he's got bigger and loftier goals, that Gravity Falls is just one town. Now it's time to spread the chaos all over the place. So he goes to leave the pyramid, and everybody's excitedly going to follow him. And they all immediately run into a force field. That's invisible to them. And Bill is like, this might be more complicated than I thought. To which some of the characters explain that they feel like they broke something because of how hard they charged into the force field. And Bill yells at him to walk it off. And then we have the fun version of the theme song again. Mm-hmm. Everything flipped upside down. I think my favorite part of it, seeing it again, is Bill as each person in the Pines family, sitting around for the family photo. The idea of a triangle wearing a sweater is so so silly to me.
It's also funny, just like, because I think this time I focused on Bill Corduroy, where he's just dressed like Wendy, and it's just, I don't know, it's just funny.
So then we go back to Dipper, Wendy, and Seuss as they go and step through the giant ball that is encasing Mabel. And they kind of agree that they're going to get Mabel out of this prison and then move on and then save the town. So they step through, and they kind of end up in, how would I explain it, like, non-existent space. And they're falling through, and it describes it as the ground starts cracking with rainbow-colored fractures, and they begin to, fall. And Seuss explains that if he wants to die hugging them, and immediately pulls Wendy and Dipper towards him. And Dipper's like, you're choking me. And Susan's like, let my body be your shield. And they're screaming as they're falling into the complete unknown. And then they end up hitting and landing on a bouncy castle. Or landing on the ground, and it's bouncy. So Dipper's like, is it like a bouncy castle that we've landed in? And Wendy's like, do I hear 80s music? And Seuss is like, does the air smell like childlike wonder? So then they all actually look around, and they're kind of confused. They're like, this is Mabel's prison, and it's basically everything that Mabel talks about and loves and cares about, but made large and real and existing. Mm-hmm. I think, what is it? Yeah, everyone goes through town as on a giant Waddles bus. A lot of the star characters she's imagined in her fever dreams are walking around in live. Everything has there's a filter-ish thing where everything's kind of slightly blurred and slightly brighter. To which they make comments about it's so bright it hurts their eyes.
Well, oh wait, no, they didn't say. We didn't meet those characters yet.
Not yet. But yeah, and then there's an announcer for the town that says that it's fun o'clock, everyone. Today's weather calls for rainbows with a chance of dance parties, and if you're the owner of a unicorn with a top hat, please come to Ice Cream Beach. Your unicorn is being towed. So yeah, so Seuss is like, it's shining, shimmering, and splendid.
What is this new world?
And then Zyler and Kraz start driving up and welcome them to Mabelland. And Dipper's like, this is worse than the apocalypse. And Wendy says it hurts her eyes. And Zyler's like, oh, that's normal. The rainbows have colors only bees and art students can see. So they ask if they want the grand tour, and Dipper kind of catches on. He's like, do we have a choice? And they're like, no. And they immediately start driving them around in their car and explaining that there's only one rule, that there are no rules, except there is one rule, but nobody would be dumb enough to break it, so it's not even worth mentioning.
Foreshadowing.
So
dun, dun, dun.
Dipper explains that they're not here to party, they just need to find Mabel and they get out of here. And then they crash a building. They crash the car through a building, saying, explaining, oh, Mabel's at our next stop, and exclaim, no rules, as they run through a bunch of stuff and start skidding along the street. And they start offering them, or they end up at the beach, and there's penguins that are like butlers that have a whole bunch of stuff, and they offer the three of them a bunch of drinks, to which I think, what is it, Wendy and Seuss both take drinks, and Dipper is kind of suspicious of everything, as he should be, because he's Dipper. And they kind of acknowledge that they haven't eaten in potentially 3 days. Seuss saying that he's only eaten part of his hat as the apocalypse has happened.
I guess one thing to mention is that the start of this episode, it says it's a day 4 Weirdpocalypse.
I did forget that little bit of text.
Yeah, well, it was, so did I, until it said last 3 days, and I'm like, oh,
Day 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dipper does what he does best and shouts at everybody, like, open your eyes, can't you see? Saying, like, this place must be made by Bill, so it's probably, like, baby... What does it say? It's probably blood or bones or babies. It's probably
ground up bones or babies or something.
And slaps the drink out of Wendy's hands and saying, like, Bill's using Mabel's own fantasies as some kind of weird trap, and we need to get Mabel and get out of here.
And that makes me want to watch The Twilight Zone.
So then Kraz and Zyler explain that there's waffle guards guarding the castle that Mabel stays in, and there's no way to get past them. And Seuss sees them, and he's like, someone hand me the syrup. And starts to jump in. And we cut over closer to the waffle guards, and we see Seuss is shown up behind them and starts, like, eating the back of one of them. And they start exclaiming, the moment we've been training for. And the other guard is like, oh, I got it. And then Wendy just punches him through the face, and it falls onto the ground. So then they push through the doors, and there's a bunch of, like, animals, like, playing board games and, like, hanging out and having tea parties with each other. And as they open the doors, Dipper's like, everyone get down, it's a rescue mission, and everyone scatters. And then the three of them find their way up to Mabel's bedroom, and they get through there, and it kind of looks like Sleeping Beauty, because she's, like, in the center of a big bed with a huge mesh net, and she's just completely asleep. So they all, like, make this whole show of, like, grabbing her and, like, blocking the doors so the waffle guards can't come through. And then Mabel wakes up and is like, guys? And Dipper says they're gonna get her out of this. And then Mabel shows off that she has complete power over this world. She she claps twice. Everything gets rearranged. The waffle guards get in, and then she claps again, and they back off. And they just Dipper's like, Mabel, what are you doing? We're gonna save you from this. And Mabel's like, this isn't prison. I made this world, I think. I kind of just woke up here. And
I feel like that's what you say sometimes on the podcast.
I don't know how I got here. I'm just here.
I'm just here, and Itisdpayne's talking.
But yeah, so Mabel's basically explaining that she doesn't want to be saved, that this is her place, and that she is Mayor Mabel of this town. And the commercial break, and then they come back, and Dipper is confused, and Mabel explains that, you know, once she heard about the potential apprenticeship, she wanted to hide in her sweater forever. And then while she was hiding in her sweater, she has what she doesn't realize, a total lapse in memory. But she says that she woke up in this place and she's getting everything she wanted. Summer never ends. She never has to grow up. And parties never end. And now that the three of them have joined her here, everything's perfect and she never needs to leave. And Dipper is like, all of this is crazy. You can't, like, live like this. And to which she says she knew normal Dipper would doubt her, so she made backup Dipper, who has a more supportive attitude. And as I like his name, he introduces himself as Dippy Fresh, and comes in skateboarding. He's got, like, glasses and like cool 80s skateboarder vibes, and he's like, wiggity wiggity, what's up, dude bros? I like skateboarding, supporting my sister, and punctuating every sentence with a high five. And goes to high five Seuss. And Dipper tries to stop Seuss, and Seuss like, I can't leave him hanging. And then proceeds to high five him anyway. To which Dipper's like, you're dead to me. So then Mabel tries to reassure him, saying that they're gonna love it. and the world seems to know everything you want before even you do. And in the middle of her talking, a chinchilla appears above her head. She's like, apparently I wanted a chinchilla. And Dipper tries to be the voice of reason again, and you can't stay here forever. And Dippy Fresh tells normal Dipper to take a chill pill because they grow in the trees here. And to which Dipper loses his mind.
I don't blame him. Like, I am with Dipper on this. I would be mad if one of my siblings
replaced you with a chill version of you.
Well, that's the problem. I think for the most part, that's not true. I was about to say I feel like I'm pretty chill, and then I was like, no, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they would replace me with if they could. I don't think I would. It's very much like, hey, this is what your family wishes you were like.
Yeah, that would be. I would be mad. Yeah, but yeah. So Dipper loses it on Dippy Fresh telling him to stay out of this, and Dippy Fresh is like, or no. Seuss tells Dipper to calm down because Dippy Fresh didn't do anything to him. To which Dipper growls at Dippy Fresh. But yeah, so Mabel is like, look, I know it sounds too good to be true, but just give it a chance. And what you want, it always provides. And she claps, and their clothes are clean because, you know, from the apocalypse and everything, they've been dirty going around it for 3 full days, starting day 4 now. And then a flying hamburger shows up, to which Seuss bites it and goes, pudding center, nice. And it was funny, like, I was watching it on my phone while Strider was playing Armored Core, and he just happened to look over, and he was like, wait, that doesn't make sense, because the outside of it looks like a normal burger, but when he bites through it, it's all bun, and then pudding in the middle. And I was like, shh, don't think about it. It's not real.
No, me and Strider are on the same page here. For once.
But yeah, so Wendy is trying to, like, take Dipper's side, but then all of a sudden they hear, like, a large horn honking outside, and then she sees her friends, and Wendy believes it's actually them and goes, you guys made it out safe? And they explain that they've got a monster truck, and they're going to go prank the principal and try and glue the plunger to the principal's head. And you see Wendy's eyes go wide, and she's like, yeah, guys, I kind of always wanted to do that, so I'll be back in, like, a few minutes. And she gets in the truck. And Dipper's like, wait, what? And then as that happens, the doors kick open, to which a luchador shows up and says, Seuss, I have returned. And Seuss is like, Dad? And then this luchador explains that since Seuss has never physically seen his dad, like, ever in person, Seuss has always attributed his father to a face he saw in a hot sauce bottle on the body of a pro wrestler. And Dipper's like, no, Seuss, you can't accept whatever he offers you. And the guy goes, wanna play catch? And Seuss is like, I gotta do this, man. I gotta go give it one game.
Mm-hmm. And I like how catch is the wrestler dad just throws the ball, like, off screen, and Seuss is like a puppy dog, like, yeah.
So yeah, so Dipper explains that he feels like it's gone too far, saying that the fantasies aren't good for anyone. And Mabel's like, everybody's happy here, you can't, like, discount that, and listen to your heart for once, because Mabel Land has something for everybody. So Dipper leaves. And then
take a problem with listen to your heart.
And
I still won't play Among Us after everyone listened to their heart.
Yeah, so then we see Dipper leave Mabel's tower, and then it cuts back to the pyramid with all the demons trying to figure out what to do about this force field around them. And Bill has a realization. He's like, maybe there is one person that knows how to fix it. All of a sudden, my nose is like, how about we be congested? I don't feel sick otherwise, so I'm going to guess it's because it's suddenly cold right now. And then it's going to warm up again in a couple days.
Do you want to get a vacuum and just, like, suck it all out?
Yeah, yes. Live on cam for the for the video
that's
viewers.
Patreon content.
But
I always thought that'd be nice to have a little vacuum and just be like, and just get it all out sometimes.
I know there are some people that like to do the thing where it's like you use water to clear out your sinuses.
The neti pot?
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of the texture moving through me like that.
Like,
it's so goofy.
I've seen videos of it, and I'm like, it does look mad satisfying. But it's like, I was working out this week, and I think, like, I got the, like, when you get, like, a little bit of water up your nose feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I think the humidity was doing that to me, and I'm like, this is the worst. So
I don't want to willingly do this to myself.
I'm like, I'm already not having fun trying to work out and just sweating, and now I have this.
But yeah, so then we have Bill basically deciding, like, maybe I should take Ford out of retirement because he'll know how to get rid of this force field. But then they come to report that the Pines have made it into Mabel's bubble, to which Bill laughs, saying it's his best trap yet, and things are probably going to get pretty interesting. Go get me Gideon. And Bill explains that the temptation in the bubble, you'd have to have a will of titanium to be able to survive it. So then we go back into Mabel's prison and find Dipper sitting on a riverside, and he's like getting frustrated at how perfect everything is. Like, he goes to skip stones. He's like, everyone is perfect. And he's like, maybe he thinks, maybe she's right, because everything here is like fine, and it's outside it's a horror show. And then we have Wendy show up, and she starts teasing Dipper about talking to a river. And I think this scene is incredibly awkward, so I'm just gonna zoom through it. I'm gonna still say what happens.
We need to just dwell in the moment.
But basically, we have Wendy as a this figment of Wendy.
Spoilers. Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for this episode.
Yeah.
That's always my favorite thing, just in the middle of say spoilers, and then it's like, oh, we never said that in the beginning.
We have she's supposed to be at least 16 or 17, right? I forget if
16.
She's 16. Dipper is about to turn 13. So this is like very illegal in my mind for this 16-year-old to tell a 12-year-old, you can be however old you want to be in this world. And I was like, oh God, gross.
When you wish upon a star.
But Dipper, basically, this fake Wendy is like, if only you were older, I would totally date you. To which Dipper, in any other circumstances, if this was not a cartoon on Disney, I would be like, he's getting groomed right now.
Where's Chris Hansen? Is that his name? Let's have a talk.
And then she kind of exclaims, like, maybe we should go ask Mabel if we can make you older so we can finally date. And
that is a weird question to go ask your twin sister, who's already mad that you're leaving her.
And then Dipper sees that Wendy holds out her hand saying, let's go together, we're gonna figure it out. And Dipper has his moment of lucidity and goes, wait, it's not real. To which this Wendy holding out its hand turns into a bunch of like cockroaches and centipedes, and everything around them goes from shiny and rainbows to like super creepy. And the stuffed animal tree nearby that was like dancing like a classic like Disney cartoon, jumping around with a smiley face, turns and has an evil face on it. It's like, you shouldn't have done that, Dipper. We're watching you. And you see Bill's eyes appear on the tree and all over the stuffed animals, and saying that there are eyes everywhere. And then all of a sudden, the sky's bright again.
Oh, for the perfect reason, though.
For several times.
Oh, yeah. They're back.
On a tandem 5 bike. But yeah, they say hi to Dipper. And then Dipper is like, I'm losing my mind. I got to make it back to the real world. We can't stay here. And to which the guards go and tackle Dipper, because everyone gasps and freaks out about him going against the world, right?
Well, he says back to the real world as he's
Yeah.
like hyperventilating, and then it like echoes across this Mabel universe.
Yeah, the rule is probably saying real world, right? At this
Yes,
point.
yeah. It's the line a little after they tackle him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's
So they tackle Dipper, and the guard says, under article smiley face of exhibit squeaky duck, you're hereby accused of breaking our one rule, mentioning reality, and everyone is watching and like, whispering to each other. And they go to banish him by opening up a portal to back to like Weirdmageddon state of things. And Dipper is like, you're smarter than this, you've been hypnotized or something, are you gonna really let them banish me? And Mabel's like, that's my brother, there's gotta be another way. So he must, the guards say he must plead his case in the ultimate trial of fantasy versus reality. To which Seuss immediately starts eating the guard again. And the guard's like, seriously? And then Seuss tries to blame it on a stuffed rhino nearby. But, so then we end up in a courtroom. And we see, again, a lot of references to things that Mabel has enjoyed throughout the series. Like Duck Detective is sitting next to Seuss and Wendy on the benches, watching the proceedings. And Dipper's like, you're gonna let me like take this argument to court? And Mabel's like, I didn't make the rules. And Dipper's like, there is a tapestry of you making the rules. And it is just Mabel writing the rules as everyone's like, yes. So then we have the announcement of the judge that will be presiding over the case. It is Judge Kitty Kitty Meow Meow Faye Schwartzstein.
It's really funny because I was looking up Schwarzenstein to see. I'm like, that sounds like where the joke is. Almost every result is Judge Kitty Kitty Meow Meow Faye Schwartzstein. I'm like, okay.
It's not an extra bit. It just is Judge Kitty Kitty
It sounds
Meow Meow.
like it does sound like a person who's in law's name.
Yeah. So then, the cat has a squeaky hammer and tries to say like the trial begins right now, and then they get distracted by a string hanging from the ceiling, much like any cat would. And the police giraffe that announced his entrance is like, judge, and then the cat goes serious. He's like, oh, sorry. And then they go, we're here in the case of fantasy, where it's like really cute, like bubbly handwriting, and then reality, which is like the red stamp of like disapproval.
And it's like small and tiny,
yeah,
compared to fantasy.
So then they talk about, like, if Dipper wins, then maybe we'll go back to the real world with him. But if he loses, he'll be banished forever and replaced with town darling, Dippy Fresh. Dippy Fresh comes out, flip a dip dip. Dipper, I hate him so much.
I was looking into things. I found a fun little fact about Dippy Fresh that I'll share when we get to our revelations and continuity stuff.
Okay. But yeah. So they say that it'll be judged by a judge of their peers, to which they put 6 copies of Mabel into the jury stand, and all the Mabels look at each other. I love your headband. No, I love your headband. And they the last Mabel goes, we're all wearing the same headband. They start laughing about headbands. And Dipper is like, look, if I have to win this to get you to come home with me, fine, I'll stick with it. And Mabel's like, I only speak through my legal team now, to which through the doors we have Xyler and Kraz in like arms cut out, looking super buff in suits. And they come in saying they have a doctorate degree in hunkiness, also criminal and international law. So they're qualified.
In this world.
So then they open up the case, and Xyler immediately opens up with, Your Honor, townsfolk, lovely ladies of the jury. And all the Mabels are like, oh, he's talking about us. And the last Mabel, we're not that lovely. But yeah, they explain that Dipper is a very unrighteous dude that thinks reality is better than fantasy. And they say that reality is bogus, as it has, like, it shows up on this little, like, paper thing that usually you have to write on, but they magically have words appear, that it's bogus, lame, and whack. And Dipper's like, objection, Your Honor, that's conjecture. And meow overruled. And then they go
just
through...
like Phoenix Wright.
Objection! But then they take... Xyler and Kraz begin to take everyone through memory lane, where the room kind of semi-teleports into different memories from a scrapbook that Mabel has. So one of her examples of why reality sucks, they show a part of a memory where Mabel's super excited for picture day, but then a girl comes in as a bully and puts gum in her hair. And it shows Mabel asking Dipper for help, and then Dipper kind of like being shy and nervous about like what to do about this. And then she runs away crying, and they're like, see, reality absolutely sucks. And then Dipper is like, look, that was just one bad day. You can't count that as all of reality. To which they go into another memory, and this one is one that's not so great for Dipper, where it's Valentine's Day, and Mabel and Dipper are comparing how many Valentines they've each gotten. Mabel has herself a whole pile of them, and Dipper has like a piece of scrap paper. And then this poor transcript, it just says fat kid.
Yeah.
I was gonna call him a bully. But this bully starts to point to...
If it fits, it fits.
This bully starts to point out that Dipper hasn't gotten any Valentines, and they all start calling him Dipstick, and everyone starts chanting in the background. And Mabel feels bad, and Dipper runs off. Where the kid's like, I can't believe Dipper is your brother, kind of thing. To which Dipper is kind of like, what's the point of all this? This is all in the past. And Xyler is like, but is life any better now? And they flash through different things that have happened to Mabel, such as heartbreak, disaster, and then broken promises. Where each of these things are Dipper when he's clearly been dumped by Wendy and realizes he won't ever be able to be with Wendy. Then Dipper it says lying against the tree in Weirdmageddon Part 1. I feel like it's not the best description of it, but it'll do. And then Mabel yelling at Dipper for, breaking the promises of everything for their future. And then Kraz explains, like, the real world is just full of heartbreak, and says, but in here, who wants Pug Sundays? And then all the juries get excited, and they summon... I got scared when I first heard this because I forgot what summons. I was like, are there going to be dogs and ice cream? No, it's just dog-shaped ice cream.
No, it's dog ice cream.
And then Kraz asks Xyler for a microphone, and they summon a microphone, only to drop it, And then he says, Xyler's like, totally righteous, bro. And Kraz is like, are we brothers? And Xyler's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then...
Fun pop culture. I guess people still drop the microphone. I guess it's now a staple thing. I don't know.
I think so. But yeah, so then the judge is like, okay, we have our verdict. And Dipper's like, well, hold on. I haven't presented my case. And the judge is like, do you have a case? And Dipper's like, I call as a witness Mabel Pines. And the whole courtroom goes into whispers and gasps about it. Mabel's like, objection? And the judge is like, I'll allow it. Us cats are famously curious. Meow, meow. So Mabel heads up and sits in the chair to be a witness. And Dipper goes into a monologue saying, like, I don't have all the answers. I'm not stylish and I'm not cool. And I can't make pugs appear out of thin air. To which all the the jury Mabels are like, boo, guilty.
Wait, Mabel 7. How many are there?
I thought there were only 6.
Hold up. I'm going to see if I can find a picture. Yeah, no, in the picture, there's only 6 of them.
We'll take it as a typo. Or maybe there's a secret Mabel that appeared.
Yeah.
But Dipper says that, like, the only thing he does know is that even though you're not acting like it, you don't actually want to be here. And Mabel's like, okay. And he says, like, I get it, you're scared of growing up, and everyone's scared of it, me too. To which she starts going, trying to cover her ears, and calls over the guards. She's like, the fingers! And they get big foam fingers to cover her ears for her. And
Foam me.
Dipper
That's not what she says, but that's what I imagine it be like.
And then Dipper continues explaining, like, real life does stink, and, you know, he's not going to lie, but you can't go through it in denial. There's people around you that can help you get through it, and it's how they've done it this whole time. And then they go back to the first memory where Mabel had the gum stuck in her hair, and Kid Dipper is like, I know how to fix your photo, and she's like, a wig? And he's like, no, but I have a razor. So then he shaves part of his head, and she does it in solidarity, and they laugh about it and pose for the picture. And then Mabel, present day, starts to listen to him and takes the foam fingers away from her ears. And then they go back to the second memory of Dipper not getting any Valentines, and younger Dipper has himself locked away in a room, and underneath the door slides Mabel made a giant Valentine's heart made of all of her Valentines for Dipper, which cheers him up. And on it says, for my favorite brother. So then Dipper explains, like, they've always been there for each other. They get flashes of all the shenanigans from the entire summer of how well they've been working together. I do like how they end on her with the grappling hook, because it's finally when she gets to use her grappling hook. And Dipper explains, like, even though, like, this is a fantasy world, Dipper's actually the one that's been living in a fantasy, admitting, like, what was he going to do? Really spend his whole rest of his life in a lab coat in a basement as Ford's apprentice? Sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. He should have a regular future and do it together, side by side. And then he offers her, you know, a chance to leave the world and beat Bill and grow up together, like they should be doing. And everybody in the crowd starts to, like, mutter and whisper to themselves, to which the judge takes his hammer and starts slamming it. He's like, order in the court. Why is this squeaky?
Why is this hammer squeaky?
To which Mabel's like, oh, so you're actually going to come home? And Dipper's like, yeah, definitely. Awkward sibling hug. And everyone starts screaming, don't do it. No. You do this and it's all over. And Mabel's clearly, you know, filtering them out as she goes, sincere sibling hug. They start to hug, and the judge, don't do the pats. Pat, pat. As everything starts to fall apart, everything,
It's their Thanos snap.
Yeah. And Mabel kind of looks around, and she's like, has it always been this bright? And have I been listening to the same song for, like, a whole week? I like this description. Judge Kitty Kitty Meow Meow Face meows in a distressed manner. And then Mabel's like, okay, everybody calm down, I'm gonna fix it. And she tries the clap and realizes things aren't working. And then Kitty Meow Meow in pain is like, because your reign over this land is over. And he splits open, it becomes a nightmarish pile of yarn, and the whole crowd turns gray and everyone's eyes are glowing red. And Zyler and Kraz, I always thought it was funny that they didn't transform at this part. But they just hug each other and, like, scream. So they all, the main four, Mabel, now included with Dipper, Seuss, and Wendy, all agree that they have to get out of here because Paradise is canceled. And then Waddles, who's still the size of an elephant, as described here, but, like, rideable, he shows up and they all ride on Waddles' back. And she says, take us to freedom, giant Waddles, and he begins to run. And I felt like I had a sneeze, and now it's just sitting there. Oh.
Someone said bless you.
Somewhere, way before I was ready. But yeah, so then Mabel reaches out and grabs a giant knitting needle and is like, sorry, Mabel Land, it's time to burst your bubble. And as Waddle jumps, she breaks the bubble with the needle, and it all explodes into confetti everywhere out in the real world. And they find themselves lying on the ground of the cliff. And they check to see that everyone's good, and then Waddle shrinks back to his normal size, and everyone's wearing the distressed clothing from before. So they all hug, and Mabel says that she appreciates what Dipper said, but he can take their apprenticeship if he really wants to. That she won't get in his way now, and Dipper's like, what, and miss all of your awkward teen years? They have a sibling moment, and Mabel's like, I'm crazy. The real world can't be that bad, can it? As they pan over and see Gompers destroying the skyline and a giant pyramid, and she's like, oh,
yeah,
boy.
it's like, can I go back?
So then they end up making their way back to in the town. And they notice that the town looks to be completely deserted. And Seuss is like, did Bill already win? And they all agree that they're going to go and hide out in the shack. And as they're approaching the shack, Dipper's like, it's in shambles, just like the way we left it. And Wendy's like, I've never been this happy coming back to work. And Mabel runs up to it and is like excited. She's like, hello house, hello porch, hello wads of gum I left on the couch. And Dipper notices that there's like sounds coming in from inside the building, and he grabs a golf club, and Wendy pulls out a crossbow. Seuss pounds his fists, and Mabel has a trusty grappling hook, and they all are ready for whatever it is that they find behind this door. So they kick it open, and everybody's screaming. Everybody as in, so we have the group of 4 that we've been following, and then inside the building, we have the unicorn that I will never be able to say her name again.
Elizabeth LaBelle.
There you go. Hutzbar, the Manitor. We have one of the bikers. We have the guy married to the woodpecker. We've got Candy, and I think Candy's so funny. She's got like all this like combat gear. And then we have Stan, Grenda also in combat gear, Sheriff Blubbs, Pacifica Northwest, who looks extremely disheveled, Old Man McGucket, and some of the gnomes inside the building, and they're all screaming at each other, worried about like who's on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And Dipper and Mabel are like, Stan? And Stan's like, kids? And the multi-bear comes out of the bathroom, just so everybody knows we're out of toilet paper. Oh, did I miss something?
It's still a gift.
And then we end up in the end credits where Xyler and Kraz did not fall apart like everything else in the dream world. And they go, wow, we survived. Where are we? And they find a bench to sit on, and they're overlooking the destruction of Gravity Falls. And Xyler's like, are we real? Is this reality? Jean-Paul Sartre postulated that every existing thing is born without reason, prolongs itself out of weakness, and dies by chance. And Kraz is like, totally righteous, bro. Because I know. And that is the end of Weirdmageddon Part 2.
Alrighty. So we'll quickly go through this because went over the time that we originally set. Where a lot of the character revelations were already mentioned, such as Wendy always wanted to glue a plunger to the principal's head, and Seuss doesn't remember what his father looks like. But okay, I guess at the end this also is a thing where Old Man McGucket is no longer in a survival bunker, as he's in the
shack.
In the shack. Yeah, because early on, I think before Weirdmageddon happens, he says he is where he's going.
He's like doomsday prepping, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Xyler and Kraz manifested in according to a memory that was apparently in Stan's mind from mine jumpers or minescapers, whatever it was called. Mm-hmm. Where apparently he has a memory where Xyler and Kraz later got materialized into reality.
Oh.
Specifically in Weirdmageddon.
Okay.
So, and then scrolling through, another little fun thing is when they were having court, there's a bunch of like cameos of other characters in there. So like Ducktective is in the beginning. I think biting Dipper. Sir Syrup.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was biting Dipper or like Wendy and Seuss.
It might have been Seuss. I can't remember.
Because Dipper's not sitting with them.
Yeah, it might have been Seuss. And then Sir Syrup from The Legend of the Gobblewonker is there. The bottle. Hoo-Ha the Owl from the Jamboree is there from Seuss and the Real Girl. Mabel Stuffed Tiger, which is seen in Tourist Trapped. Aoshima, which is one of the flavor pups in The Inconveniencing. What episode is that? Oh, it's
from the paper, the Fun Dip.
Yes. Shimmery Twinkle Heart from Little Gift Shop of Horrors. That's
the star.
The star,
right?
yeah. That, but no longer in claymation.
Mabel would never.
Yeah. The boy that Mabel attempts to ask out in the first episode.
Definitely, absolutely, for sure.
The cardboard cutout of Zach from the Purple Rhino. Mabel's Guide to Dating, which is probably a short. Yeah, that's a short. And there's not a picture of said person. Industrial sprinklers from another short. Stickers. Yeah,
From
so
another
thing.
short.
Yeah, several times. The puppy playing basketball, which was one of Mabel's sweaters in Irrational Treasure. Waffles with big arms is what Mabel drew in the Headhunters episode, which was the wax museum, or the wax ones come to life. And a Stan bobblehead scene in Tourist Trapped is there as well. They also didn't mention that, I think this was something we read earlier, that the dolphin shooting rainbows with man hands was or arms and hands was a callback to a show I think Alex Hirsch originally pitched and got a no. So Judge Kitty Meow Meow Face Schwarzstein is one of Mabel's sweaters that resembles her sweater in Dreamscapers, which is her fists.
Right, the faces. The kitten hands, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then pretty much it's like these Mabel clones wore this sweater. Oh, and then the awkward sibling hug is a callback from the first episode when they apologize to each other and are like, awkward sibling hug, and then it's like, that's when they do pat pat, and then it's never brought up again until now.
I like this. Dipper realizes that Wendy is not real after she winks at him, which is something he also was able to catch during the Into the Bunker. And that's how he could tell regular Wendy apart from the shapeshifter Wendy.
So real Wendy can't wink.
Or just would never wink at Dipper.
Yeah. Pug Sundays as a reference to what Mabel said in A Tale of Two Stands. When Ford was going to make puppies out of ice cream. Yeah, and then there's just a bunch of other little Johnskis. And then I don't know. I thought of a fun question. Maybe it might be too much of a thought thing to think of with the time we have left. But the one fact I did want to say that I looked up with Dippy Fresh is that apparently, originally, Dipper would have killed him in a rage by twisting his neck back and breaking his neck.
I would have loved to have seen, Dippy Fresh turn into one of the bad clone Dippers when he fell apart.
I want to see Gravity Falls, uncut. With all these things that
the
they
Disney
weren't allowed
After
to do.
Hours.
Yeah. So if we don't have time for this question, because I definitely was something that came out of random. It's definitely in this episode, but it's if we don't have time, we don't have to do it. But do you think you would have an idea if you were stuck in the Mabel prison what the ball would look like?
Oh, it'd just be me with a bunch of animals. A bunch of farm animals sitting somewhere where I have a lot of access to books and it's quiet.
So a petting zoo library.
Yeah. With good tea.
And not Sugar Tea.
Yeah.
Sugar Tea sounds like a real character. I don't really have an answer. I was I can't think of anything real quick.
You've got another couple days. We can talk about it at the beginning of
I'll think about
recording.
it, and I'll that's how we'll open it. I'll think of something. I was focused on everything else, but Hop, I do have a very important question.
Yes.
Who you most like this episode?
I think out of everything, I'm probably... It's weird. I'm 50-50 Mabel and Dipper. Because on one half, I agree that the world sucks and I would love to go in a little bubble where I have no responsibilities and things never change. But on the other half, I'm a realist and I'm I can't do that. And I'd be more likely to doubt stuff happening than when it's too good. Dipper's oh, Wendy really wants to be with me. And he's like, ooh, no, it's not Wendy. So I think overall I'm going to just stick with the gut and go with Dipper. How about you? Who are you most like this episode?
Multi-bear.
No. Sorry, guys. I'll toilet paper.
Nah, yeah, because it's like, okay, am I a figment of imagination? Or, I don't know. Because, like, I don't think I would take the hard stand. Like, I agree with what you were saying, where it's just like, it would be nice to be in Mabel's, like, whole thing, but it's like, I'm too, not pessimistic, skeptical, I think, to, like, actually believe that this is what I have now.
Yeah.
So,
too good to be true.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is not how my life works, which, I don't know, might say more about me. And then with Dipper, I don't know, I've definitely been in the position where it's like I had to have, like, not the talk of wake up to reality, but it's like helping people and stuff like that. But it's...
Yeah, I'd say I've had conversations where it's like, it's not as harsh as like snap out of it, but it's like, all right, let's talk realistically. Let's get grounded in what your expectations are.
Yeah. But like Wendy and Seuss, like their whole thing, like, I don't know.
They buy into their fixing their trauma.
Yeah.
Wendy is worried about her friends, and Seuss has the gap in his relationship.
Yeah, even though it's like kind of reverting on his whole big character revelation where he used his wish to give what's his face hair.
Blendon Blandon.
Blendon, yeah, and then Infinite Pizza. But I don't know. And then Bill's just doing what Bill does, which is kind of nothing. He's just kind of sitting there, just
He's
like
scheming.
Yeah. Poopies. I'm gonna say, oh shoot, I gotta bring up the transcript again. I wanna say that I am Xyler.
The philosophical one?
Yeah, because every once in a while I feel like I'll pull something out of, like, left field. Of, like, it's all, like, chaos, 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 and then, hey, zippity boop bop, and then it's, like, back to chaos.
Okay, so then that leaves the next question, favorite character. I think I'm a Judge Kitty Kitty Meow Meow fan. He's so serious in such an unserious world. He didn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that name's too long. Let me wrap around the text.
I'm glad I have no, like, joy for that character, because it's like, I'm not making Hop write that out, but then you did it to yourself.
Copy paste.
Yeah, I know who I don't like, which is Dippy Fresh.
You could put Multi-Bear.
I could, but I feel like there was better characters than that, which oh wait, I'm trying to find Pacifier. That's the one that's just like, I think I broke my nose, and Bill's just like, shut up, just keep going.
Walk it off.
Walk it off. Because it's just, I don't know, it's just funny seeing this giant, like,
evil creature,
demonic looking baby head that's just like, I think I hurt myself. And Bill's just like, shut up.
No, that is a good one.
So, but yeah, next episode is the final one, which I guess it's good because I don't know if we have, I don't know what our schedule is like. We can talk about that afterwards. I don't know if we have to end at a certain time.
I don't have to end at a certain time, but I do today.
Yes.
So we may not talk about it today if you don't mind.
No problemo. So, any poops, we gotta go. Well, Hop's gotta go. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. And prepare for the final episode next time. And then you'll hear what we're doing next, which I think we already mentioned. But anyway, bye-bye!